Welcome, I am the Kaiju no Kami, and tonight I am celebrating another Friday the 13th with Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Final chapter, my ass.
Paramount, being embarrassed by the franchise, decided it was time to kill Jason off for good and end everything here. As such, the decision was made to title this the final chapter because this was going to be it, the end of the series. Not just that, but the film's director, Joseph Zito, has been reported as treating the staff and cast like dirt to the point that Jason's actor, Ted White, asked to not have his name credited in the film. Hostility plagued the movie's production throughout the entire film, with brutal stunts the actors were forced to endure and some of the actors reciprocating with childish antics towards staff members, especially from child star Corey Feldman.
However, did Zito's harsh nature towards the staff really pay off in the end? There's only one way to find out. Let's take a look at Monday the 16th, Jason's unlucky day.
After several minutes of recapping the previous movies, our story begins with the police cleaning up the farmhouse from the previous iteration. They take Jason's body to the morgue where he finds himself in the company of a great mortician named Axel.
This your last?
Got one more over there.
Real cute girl. Was.
Well, she still is. All you gotta do is go over there, take off your pants.
Nice talk. Real nice talk.
Such a nice guy.
A nurse friend of his comes in to make out with him.
You better get that sucker in the icebox!
Hey, where you going?
I'm going crazy!
The only thing crazy about this lady is your acting, and probably that you guys are trying to make out in a morgue with dead bodies because necrophilia sells? Oh.
Of course, Jason comes to life and kills the duo.
Leave me alone!
We then cut to Trish Jarvis, played by Kimberly Beck, and her mother, played by Joan Freeman, who just arrived home from a walk, and we meet Corey Feldman's character, Tommy.
Tommy Doyle?
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
Tommy is an eccentric, lonely child who creates his own movie masks and plays video games all of the time.
Oh, so he's basically just like every kid today.
I'm in the mood for... Yes. I feel like... No! Jarvis!
What is wrong with you guys? No family actually acts like that, right?
Oh, and they have a dog named Gordon. From there, we meet our group of The Walking Dead who have just rented out the house next door to the Jarvises. There is Paul, Samantha, Sarah, Doug, Ted, and Jimmy. Ellen Hayes, Judy Oranzen, Barbara Howard, Peter Barton, Lawrence Monoson, and Crispin Glover portray these midnight snacks.
And unlike Jimmy, Ted has clearly read the script for the movie.
What? It says you're a dead fuck.
Along the way, they come across a random hitchhiker.
Paul, let's pick her up.
Sammy, where are we gonna put her?
Hey, honey, you got a sister?
And the point of that scene was... Oh, now it all makes sense.
Trish and Tommy introduce themselves to the meatbags upon their arrival, and then Trish tells her mom she is going to bed.
Don't forget 6 a.m. Once around the lake.
Seriously, you guys are a bunch of dorks.
Oh yeah, and Tommy,
What are you doing? Hey kid, I think you might need some psychological help.
The next morning of the Not Yet Dead head out to the lake and come across twin sisters, Terry and Tina.
Sorry.
Trish and Tommy are on their way home from shopping when their car breaks down. Tommy unsuccessfully tries to fix it when another guy appears.
You need a lift?
This is Rob. Eric Anderson plays Rob. Rob is a good guy. Rob is not at all mysterious. And as such, Trish will not be attracted to Rob.
If it gets too bad out there, or if you want to take a shower or whatever, we're always home.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And if we're not, Tommy usually leaves the door open.
Why would you not lock your doors? That's like you're just asking for cannibals to come in and kill you.
Good night.
Take care.
Can we see what the other soon-to-be victims are doing?
Don't think you got it made, no. You're wrong.
Oh my god, what the hell is that? I just got an idea. Hey Ubisoft, I know how you hate to actually put innovation in your video games, so how about you use this dance number in your next Just Dance game?
Don't ask me to stay. Don't think you got it made, no. You're wrong.
Do it. I want to see people in tournaments doing this.
Paul cockblocks Ted and Jimmy by flirting with Tina, which angers Samantha. She storms off, pouts for a few minutes, and then goes off for a swim as her role has been cut.
Screw you, Paul.
Paul ditches Tina to find Samantha, so the disappointed twin decides to flirt with Jimmy the Rebounder.
You want to dance? I found out that you wanted to be with Ted.
Well, I did. But now I want to be with you.
It makes me feel like a rat.
That's actually kind of interesting that you specifically say that.
This looks like the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Okay. Everybody, that was really good.
Rats. Thousands. Millions of them.
Meanwhile, Paul finds the raft still fully intact.
Which is kind of strange considering that Jason had to cut through it to cut through Samantha's body unless he somehow learned how to phase through walls in the last night.
Ted, Terry, Sarah, and Doug watch some crazy film reels they find in the house before Terry leaves jealous of her sister.
Tina, you gotta go.
You go.
Tina, I'm gonna leave without you.
Take an umbrella.
Jason spears her no mercy. Mrs. Jarvis returns home to find the power out, and then she apparently meets her death. Minutes later, Tommy and Trish return with the same dilemma. Trish heads out to look for her mom and ends up coming across Rob's tent, who nearly kills her by mistake.
What the hell are you doing here?
What are you trying to do? Kill me?
He explains his plight to her before they head back to the house to get Tommy.
My sister Sandra was just a really great kid.
Oh my God.
What is it?
Looks like a dog.
What are you kids doing out here?
We'll never do it again, sir. But the man that killed your sister is dead.
Jason's body has disappeared from the morgue.
By this point, we are an hour into the movie and barely anyone has died. So now it is time for Jason to begin his slaughter. Trish and Rob return to the house after Tommy has restored the power, and they search the house next door because it isn't the smart thing to do. Jason robs Rob of life.
Jason have time to set all the bodies up like that?
All the doors locked? Yes. Go get me a hammer and nails right now.
Girl, that's not really gonna help. I told you! Oh, wait. Actually, there is something pretty cool I do have to bring up about this scene. So apparently they told Corey Feldman how the scene was going to work out. But after the body went through the window, they kept it going, and Corey Feldman thought the stunt had gone wrong so that they weren't going to end up doing the take. As such, he didn't expect when Jason would actually pop through here, which means that that scare you see in the movie is actually legitimate. This is just one of many times throughout horror movie history where the scare is actually legit. Pretty cool when you think about it.
Trish lures Jason away from Tommy in hopes that he is going to flee the scene. Instead, he goes up to the bathroom to make himself look like Jason based on Rob's articles. The chase leads Trish back into her home.
Mommy, you were supposed to leave!
Yep, because kids always do exactly what you want.
Tommy saves his sister and kills Jason in the process.
Jason!
For real this time.
Oh, and Trish and Tommy live happily ever after.
Yep, Jason is gone forever. He is never returning at all. Nope. You can tell because the machete slid right through his head, cutting his brain and everything. There's no way he could survive that. Nope, not one bit. That son of a...
For a Friday the 13th film, there is a lot going on in this one. It's still not great by film standards, but by those of slasher ones, this has a lot of character to it. While the characters are here to die, they don't feel like it. They feel like characters the movie is trying to make us like and somewhat develop before they are removed from the board, which is kind of nice for once. It also adds some new dynamics by having characters from multiple perspectives. We have the Jarvis family, who are dorky but lovable. They have far more personality than any of the previous protagonists of the entire franchise thus far, especially Tommy, who adds in a new element by being a child. This is also the first time two characters survived Jason's attack. Oh, and Gordon proves why dogs are smarter than humans. Next up, we have the kids renting the house next door. While they do share the standard tropes of the previous cast, a few of them, especially Jimmy, stand out from the rest of the crowd.
I want to say it was the dance scene that really helped his career.
Finally, there is Rob, who is on a quest to avenge his sister Sandra. You may remember Sandra from the second movie when she and her boyfriend Jeff were killed in bed. This was not something I expected to see in any of these movies, so it was interesting even if Rob's fate was no different than his sister's. Better to try and fail though than to not have tried at all. Another interesting aspect is when you really think about it, this movie takes place on Monday the 16th because Friday the 13th was the events of the second movie. Then the next night when everything occurred on the farm was Saturday the 14th. Jason escaped the hospital on Sunday the 15th and started his killing spree on Monday the 16th. The death scenes are par for the course, but I do think showing Terry's death through her shadow was nifty. Thankfully, the makeup effects are where this movie really shines. It also helps that Tom Savini returned to do them and he did an outstanding job. The Jason face looks exceptionally terrifying, and the sliding scene is truly horrific in a good way. Tom Savini has gone on to say, "I gave him birth, and it was up to me to get rid of him, and they paid me a fortune to do it." Lastly, Harry Manfredini's score continues to work fine with the franchise. It would still be nice to have something that gets stuck in your mind for days on end, but I have no complaints.
So to reiterate the question I asked at the beginning of the review, were the hardships the cast and crew had to go through to make this film worth it? I think so. They turned out a really solid product. Granted, if you weren't a fan of the first three, there's going to be nothing here to win you over. But if you love the first three, this is even better than those three combined. It is that good, and it makes for a great ending to the franchise for those that do want to bow out now. If you don't want to go and see the other stuff, this is great. You have 4 interesting little movies, even if they're not great movies by filmmaking standards. And with that said, until next time, bye.
Let loose the Kraken!